Ahoy, ahoy, the pirate is not here, so you're stuck with the ginger-bearded wonder himself. I am the shredder of the colonial cannon. You can call me Jason. Welcome back. So off, we've all rested, although I do hear that Danny has a little bit of a hamstring niggle from trying to bend over to get some fruit flies out of his house. But anyway, welcome aboard, everybody. It's the very first ABW radio of the season as we celebrate the Community Shield and our first piece of trophy, our first trophy of the season here. Welcome aboard. Everybody knows him. Everybody loves him. Unless you're on the wrong side of Welsh justice, it's our good friend Jason Davis.
Hello, pal.
How are you, mate?
I'm bloody happy, you know. Who's that shoot heading into the goal? It's a tractor. It's a tractor. Pedro's. Just fun, you know. I'm not a big fan of the Community Shield. It's one of those where you just kind of think it's a little bit pointless unless you win it. But again, we've won it, so happy days. Quite happy.
Absolutely, absolutely. Also joined by the FIFA Pro himself, one of the top scorers of the ABW FIFA Pro clubs. It's our good friend Ellis Mel. Ellis,
hello.
How are you this fine Sunday?
Oh, I'm a bit worse for wear, a bit hangover, but I'm all right. I'm not too bad. I'm just glad to be back in a nice little Jason sandwich on the radio show.
It's two Jasons and a baby.
So, well, you are a pro.
Let's also thanks to everybody who's watching in the chat box. I see Jeremy576. I saw Daniel Cronin, our good friend Stefan Selby. The tall blonde is in there. The cheeky monkey himself, the GFP, Danny, is also in there. Good afternoon. Thanks everybody for watching and tuning in here. What a lovely day it turned out to be, but it didn't always look that way. And I sort of woke up pretty early for myself on a weekend, to be honest with you. Looked at the lineup and was like, oh, this should be interesting. Because obviously some big faces missing. Mesut Ozil was rested. Sanchez Mustafi still not quite match ready to come in for a game this competitive right now. And then also Ramsey had just I think they said just a slight knock. It was more precautions. So let's talk about the starting lineup. I'm going to start with you, Ellis. Let's your sort of initial thoughts on the starting 11 and also the bench, which had some notable absences and some probably some surprise youngsters for a preseason game still, but a game of this magnitude.
Yeah, it's a strange one, like Jason said earlier about the type of game. It's sort of like in the limbo between pre-season and an actual competitive game. It's not quite completely pre-season, but it's slightly more competitive than the pre-season game, but not as competitive as a proper game in the season. But yeah, I wasn't massively shocked with the lineup, really. I thought the front three that Arsenal decided to go with, Lacazette, Iwobi and Welbeck, was quite good. I was quite excited to see how that sort of works because they're all quite pacey and athletic and could cause problems to Chelsea's defence. The three at the back that we went for, I was quite happy with seeing. I think Nacho Monreal at that sort of left centre-back role was quite good. And then when he had to shift into the centre, I thought he did quite well for himself, really. And then Rob Holding, I thought was all right. And Saka was fine, obviously, until he got an elbow to his nose, but I was quite happy with that sort of side of things. Then his sort of thing with the formation that we picked or the positions we had was I don't really like Ox playing the sort of left wing-back role. I don't think he's as good. I think he sort of has to try and cut in a lot onto his right, so he's quite predictable. I don't think he's that good at putting a cross in with his left foot, but he did all right. He wasn't too bad at all, to be honest. I thought Xhaka and El Neni there, I wasn't too worried about that. I think they're quite solid. They're quite technically good. Xhaka's got a good passing range, and El Neni can really run for days. He doesn't really do anything outstanding, but what he does do, he does well. So I was quite happy with the starting 11. But not really surprised because obviously we're playing Friday, so we're playing a bit like a day earlier than everyone else in the league. So maybe it was a good idea to sort of make sure he rested Ramsey, Ozil, and Sanchez, and the other guys. But yeah, I thought I was quite initially happy with the initial lineup. Yeah.
Yeah. Jason, your sort of thoughts. I know Ox on the left for me was sort of a bit surprising. I thought initially we probably could have seen Iwobi on the left and then Ox maybe in the middle, but it did provide us some options to interchange and possibly give them that Chelsea sort of back three, something to deal with. But what were your thoughts on going into the match on the lineup?
It's Community Shield. I wasn't too unhappy with it. You can knock Ox all you want. He didn't have his greatest game. He seemed out of sorts, but he played in the cup final, as far as I remember, and he was really effective in the cup final. So we are missing. We are missing a couple of little bits and bobs around here and there. Gibbs is on his way out. I think I like the youngsters on the bench and the youngsters involved. I like the fact that we're not taking any chances with the main guys. It's a game I want to win, but if you offer me 3 points or the Community Shield, I'll take 3 points against Chelsea, if that makes sense. We had. He's in a no-win situation on this. I don't mind giving Arsene a bit of stick now and again, but I don't think he can win in this game. I think it's a little difficult to really quantify the Community Shield. So, it worked out well in the end. We handled losing Mertesacker with Kolasinac. Jesus wept.
Colossa Tank, as I'm starting to call him.
Yeah. And Lacazette looked lively up front. Thought Welbeck looked lively at times. Iwobi showed us glimpses of what he can do. El Nene was neat and tidy in the middle. He
not
played quite
spectacular,
well.
but like a metronome almost, just consistent.
Yeah. But that's what we know what he is. So look, I think the lineup was what it was. Just happy with the result, to be fair. Just happy.
Yeah, and just for Ash Morris, Chase, can we get a Jesus wept? Specifically on Alonso's very soap opera-esque, dramatic blonde flowing hair.
Oh, he's such a fucking cunt. I gotta be honest with you. I like him as a player. I'd like to see him in our squad, to be fair. But he was horrible all day long, Alonso was. But so were Chelsea, the usual scum that they are. So, hey, by the way, Roman, have that again. Fuck you.
We ain't been going long, have we, before the C-bomb's been dropped?
It's not.
Look, let's get.
It's bound to happen against Chelsea.
But we're back broadcasting. We're back interacting with people. There's all the same names in the box that we speak to every week. It's fantastic. I mean, who doesn't love this? Who doesn't love this?
Absolutely. I've been looking forward to it. It is,
yeah.
And
So
Chris
let's have
is
some fun with it.
And Chris is out there marauding around somewhere, missing all of the fun, trying to.
I think Chris
trying to get more booty in his war chest for Lamar. Is that what you said? Is that what you said earlier?
I think he's entered the Mediterranean. He's heading towards Monaco, and he's trying to what's I can't remember the phrase. But he's trying to kidnap Lamar and Seri or whatever. So if he pops into Nice first, heads to Monaco, he'll be okay. God love him. The Pirates have probably been sunk today as well. So, I tell you what, we got more wins. It was some Crystal Dato's just put in there. Wembley is our bitch. We've won on them the Scum's home turf before they have this season. Fuck them.
And well, let's hope that they we keep that streak alive here as well, and we can hopefully lift some more trophies on their ground as well. Let's keep it going. Let's talk about the sort of some of the match now. We'll talk about the first half. We started out really bright. I think we had some good chances. We really sort of put them on the back foot there. Iwobi looked crisp early on. I know Xhaka, to me, and everybody knows he's on the back of the kit that I got last year. He's one of my favorite players in the squad. He's just so consistent. Like Ellis mentioned earlier, his range of passing is outstanding. He put a ball in over the top that I think further in the season probably Welbeck does a little bit better with. That forces a save out of Courtois. But Jace, coming back to you here on this, your sort of thoughts on that on the first half in particular, and early on we really put them under some pressure.
we looked bright, didn't we? We looked bright. The movement is good up top. And, you know, this is the thing about any Arsenal team, and it's been the thing for the last 20 years. You know, if our movement is good, if we're at the races, you know, with our movement off the ball, then we play well. And I thought, you know, we had the majority of the first half. We pipped the first half. We wasted some really good chances. The Lacazette hitting the post incident. Oh, it would have been lovely to have seen that gone in. I thought El Nene complimented Xhaka. As he said, he just did that metronome business. I thought we looked okay at the back. I thought, you know, even after losing Mertesacker, Kolasinac comes on.
Yeah.
Monreal holds it together. I thought the wing backs, I wasn't very impressed with them defensively today, either of them, Hector or Ox, but it's early days. I thought Welbeck was full of industry. And I thought it will be, you know, I really wanted Wolby to play with the shackles off this season. I think he's, you look at his feet, he's got a beautiful pair of feet, as does Lacazette. So let's really, you know, let these guys play. But after, you know, being beaten by them in China 3-0, a bit of revenge today. In the first half, we were effective. We were very effective. I don't know what Ellis thinks. Ellis?
I thought, like you said, we did start off really well. I think out of the two teams, Arsenal looked a lot more fitter and a lot more up for it. They were running around. That front three were pressuring their defence quite well, and we were sort of getting there to all the sort of 50-50s. We were winning quite a lot of them, getting to the ball first. I thought we were quite dominant. Like you said, Iwobi started really well. He faded for a bit. He disappeared for a bit, but he started off quite well, and he looked, like you said, had the quick, good feet, got into good positions. And like you said, Xhaka, I can't really think, not just in the first half, but in the whole game, of him misplacing a pass. He was awesome in the middle of the park there with his passing ranges. But I think it only really sort of changed when Mertesacker came off. They sort of smelt blood a bit and tried to come at us, and were pushing quite hard.
Well stated. Well stated. We went into the halftime, and they had sort of taken some of the initiative away from us late in the half. I think we did fade just a little bit, but I was still positive. Definitely at halftime, go in 0-0. Like you said, really, really sort of some really good chances from Lacazette. Very. I forgot exactly who it was in one of the groups that put sort of we've missed sort of that type of being able to shoot from the tight spaces there. So that was really good to see. I think he also played some really good balls involving them in the play. It was really, really good to see that as well from him, from deeper lying positions and being able to link up sort of wide players to get them involved in dangerous spots. So really, really like to see that. I want to give a big shout out to our good friend, Mr. Jeff Hollandfront, who's in the chat with us today. The OG himself, the man who Olivier Giroud aspires to be every day. With his initials there. That's what it is there. Oh, he is. Absolutely. Absolutely. The most handsome man in Canada, I've heard.
North America.
Let's be careful. Let's be careful there, Jace. Let's be careful. With red beard comes great responsibility. Let's talk about the shit show that happened to be the 46th minute here. We come off just after the intermission there. We come on. They put us under a lot of pressure, force a corner, and some pretty sloppy marking. I think it was really Holding's only misstep of the day. Got a little lazy and ball watched sort of in front of Moses. And I do think Hector Bellerin also happened to the same thing. I'm not putting it all on one or the other, but I think they both could have done a lot better there. But Victor Moses gets free after a header back into the box, and his first touch is great. Takes him around check, and he slots home. Jace, you had a reaction there to something I said that you weren't a fan of. Lay me straight here. Put some Welsh justice on me. What did you see from that?
I think the wank fest over Holding is getting out of hands. Okay,
I think he was our best defender today.
No, I'm not having that. There's a couple of missteps from him. Let's not put pressure on the boy. He's coming along really, really nicely.
He's still very young. Absolutely.
Yeah, but whenever we say this, he's better than Cannavaro and all this business. I'm not having it. Okay, he's a really good young prospect. He's doing really well. I thought it was Hector's fault for the goal more than his. I think he should have done a bit better, but only step wrong. No, I'm not having that. I think I think you're looking at somebody now with Holding who's who didn't make it into the under-20s team or under-21s team in the Euros. Chambers and Boyd Swansea, Mawson going ahead of him. He's developing nicely with us. Let's just leave him develop. Okay, he's enjoying his time there. But I thought, we switched off, didn't we? And Moses, to be fair, Moses did really well. I think even if Hector would have been awake and followed him, and even if Holding would have got back in time, I'm not sure that it stopped him. I thought Moses, the diving, cheating, scumbag, horrible twat that he is, really did well there. He was sharp and he finished well. So, it was one of those, okay, we weren't sharp in defending it, but let's give Moses a bit of credit as well. I thought he was at the races.
Absolutely. Ellis, your thoughts on the goal there?
Yeah, it's difficult. You see a lot of goals come from the sort of corners or free kicks when it gets headed out and then it comes straight back in, because you can see the defence want to sort of push up and get on with maybe a possible counter-attack or whatever. So the whole defence sort of steps up, and then as soon as the ball comes back in, Moses is the first to react. You can see Bellerin sort of sees him as the ball comes in, and then he sort of steps up to him, but then he's too slow to react, and neither him or Holding sort of track him, and he's left there with a free chance on goal. So, yeah, it was a bit on the sloppy side. They could have been a bit more sharp, but like we've been saying, it's still technically pre-season. Not always going to be that sharp. You'd like to think or hope to think that during the season we'll be a bit more on the ball, but you never know with Arsenal's defence. That it's not something that we've always been great at. But yeah, he was sharp, Moses, and he does deserve some credit. But that's about it. I saw when he was celebrating, was he pointing to Florian Gesturing about his dive the last time he was at Wembley? So
yeah, he's such a cunt. He's such a cunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think another yellow for diving as well, and BT Sport tried their very best to justify it. And this is the shit show BT Sport is that after Pedro gets sent off, the commentator says, "Poor Pedro."
Yeah, they wouldn't be saying that Xhaka being sent off, would they?
No, exactly. Bunch of fucking cunts. There we go. I'm getting my cunt quoted out early this year.
Yeah, flying out.
Back to you in the studio, Jay.
Thank you. No, Jay, I do agree with you, Jace. We don't comparisons to Tony Adams or Cannavaro or whoever for Rob Holding. It's way too early. I will never. I said that last season as well. I'll still say it again. I do think he had a great game, and I don't remember too many other missteps from him, which is the comment I had. The comment I had before, but definitely get your point. We definitely don't need to overhype him. Obviously, Reece Nelson came on. Don't need to overhype any of these youngsters. They got a lot of development to go, and a lot of time they're still all very young. So they're going to make some mistakes, and we need to be patient with them. So I 100% agree and back you there. Let's just see. No, Nicky Wilson. The S behind me is not for anything other than my last name there, which is obviously Shredder, as all of you know.
It's
so because I'm that egotistical, and that narcissistic. Yeah. So Akib is in there. Akib. Thunder Road, Area H. We got 148 watching now, so thank you all. If you guys do like what we do, please give us a thumbs up, rate us, go retweet stuff so that we get more followers and more fans and more people like you good folks in the chat box today. And if we lost today, I'm sure you would all be cunts. So there's that. Probably not great to like compliment your audience and then instantly insult them right after that either. But we do love all of you. We do love all of you, even when you're cunts, because we can all be cunts as well. So there's my C-bomb quota for the day as well. Let's go ahead and go. Let's push on just a little bit.
Hold up, Nicky, let's pop in there. Are you saving up the rest of the letters?
I won't be able to. I won't be able to afford them all in one transfer window. There's financial fair play for letters here in the U.S. So I'm going to have to buy them up over time here, unfortunately. So the sad thing is there's also light bulbs in it, but they're broke. So and I'm too cheap to replace them. But who gives a shit? Anyway, let's talk about things that actually matter. Just a small piece of play that gave me a lot of promise. The shot that El Neni had from a very tight angle that I thought was a cross that challenged Thibaut, and I'm calling him Thibaut because I'm American and not Thibaut Courtois. But Courtois had to make a pretty great save. Did anybody see that coming from El Neni, who I think we've all said was very consistent on the day, but what a piece of technique there from a guy that we've all sort of, I think, maybe underestimated in that position. Ellis?
I didn't think he meant it. I think he just trying to drive across in there and put a bit of swaz on it, and then it looked a lot better than it was. But it could have been a good goal, but yeah, I don't think he meant that.
He shanked it. Come on.
Well, what a beautiful shank it would have been. What a beautiful shank that would have been. If you had shanked half the balls like that in your career, Davis, you'd be you'd be a little further up and have a few more jerseys on your wall and a few more pounds in your bank account, I'm sure.
I tell you what, I wouldn't mind the pounds in the bank account. Fuck the jerseys on the wall. I'm no full kit wanker.
Until you show us pictures, we won't believe that. No pictures, or we don't believe it. I believe you're in a full kit right now as we speak.
I'm actually in my OG T-shirt. It's my favorite T-shirt. So there you go.
There we go. Let's. We did have some nervy moments in the second half, especially after going down. Czech had made a few Neuer-esque decisions coming out of his box to claim some balls and to clear some balls out of the area when it looks like his defenders could have got there. But let's give the man credit where it's due. He the goal he conceded today was not I definitely don't want to blame it on him. He made a couple of really good saves as well at his near post, which is one of his bigger weaknesses that people say. How do you think overall, though? I'm going to come back to you, Jace, with this one. How do you think Czech did, obviously against his old team, but definitely showed a couple of shaky moments in the box? I can think of one cross that Holding had to sort of head off the line where he looked a little shaky. But other than that, seemed to really sort of command the area today. And like I said, had a couple of good saves in his weaker spot. What were your thoughts on our well-experienced keeper there? And obviously, it sounds like we're keeping Ospina as well. So does that competition, do you think, helping push him?
No, I don't think Ospina has any competition to him whatsoever. We've let Szczesny go, which is ridiculous. And for all the nonsense that's been said about it, Woj went to Roma and he sorted himself out and he became the best keeper in Europe last season under squawk at stats. And to keep Ospina and sell him, I don't know what's going on. There's something happened there, but it's ridiculous. And some of the money we got for him was just stupid. Ospina showed again
as our good friend Lord Hillwood would say. He would say what happened was Jerry Payton happened. That's probably what happened with
no matter what's happened. It's ludicrous. Ospina showed again in China, going for one of the goals he conceded against Batshuayi with his wrong arm. You know, he's nowhere near in the same league as Czech. Czech had a difficult season last season, but we had a difficult season as a defensive unit at that point. When we went to a three-man defence, everything got sorted out. And those near post goals, you know, there were people at those times supposed to be blocking those shots, and they didn't perform. You know, Koscielny, Monreal on occasion. You know what I mean? It's a collective responsibility. I thought he did decent. I thought Czech was decent today. You know, the goal, you got to give Moses the credit. I hate to say it, but he did well. Yes, there were a couple of dodgy moments, but you know what? The scoreline was 1-1 at the end of the game. I don't think he touched any of these shots in the penalty shootout, and we still won the penalty shootout. Who cares? But I thought Czech looked okay today, and I think he looks a lot more solid with the three at the back that we're playing at the moment. So, you know, we defend as a team. You defend from the top, and I think, you know, we get too hung up on you know, these near post issues that we had last season. When if you look at where these goals came from, we should have been conceding them. You know,
correct.
So
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
Ellis,
it's a team sport.
Yeah, Ellis, let's talk about that pressing up the top, because Lacazette gets his sort of, you know, one of his first start for us at Wembley, which hopefully he has many more. Like I said, he looked good, but let's talk about sort of what he offers to us defensively that maybe big, sexy Olivier Giroud doesn't.
Well, they both have their really positive points. I think Giroud's quite good from corners, helping us defend and coming back and helping out defending there. But I don't think that's something that Lacazette can offer. But in terms of sort of a front press, he's obviously a lot more mobile than Giroud and can put the defenders and other teams under a lot of pressure, especially when you're playing with this sort of formation we've got to go at the moment, with sort of the three forwards there with two guys behind him. Like, if you've got Alexis Sanchez as well, who's quite known for his like harrying people and pressing people, you've got both those two sort of leading from the front there, and maybe not as much Ozil, but Ozil's not too bad at pressing. I think he does get a lot of stick, and incorrectly so, because I think he's all right at pressing. He just doesn't look like he is because he's quite languid. But then if you've got Iwobi as well back, all three of them worked today. Like, when you've got people who are mobile and pacey and have a lot of energy, then it's always going to make defenders worry. Just other than someone like, for example, the French Lampard, he's not that mobile, so people aren't going to worry when Giroud starts running at him. The only time they're going to probably worry is when he's starting getting balls in the air to him, because that's sort of where his qualities lie. So it's good. It gives us options. A lot of people have talked about Giroud maybe going this summer, and I think he said now that he wants to stay. And I'm glad he's staying, because I think Giroud can still offer us a lot this season, because there's going to be times when Lacazette's game won't really fit the opposition we're playing. He won't get much of the ball, and the only sort of way we're going to get goals is probably putting a few crosses in, and you want Giroud in that situation rather than Lacazette. And obviously, it's going to be games when you want a fast, mobile front line, and Lacazette offers you that. So it's good. It's nice to have the options.
No, I obviously, as a fan of Giroud myself, nobody will. If you've watched this platform for any period of time, you know that I get orgasmic over Giroud at times. No, I 100%. 100% agree. It's definitely a different sort of press. I think obviously Lacazette offers more pace and can close down more quickly. But they each offer their own qualities that we'll be able to use throughout the season and adapt. And I do think what we've seen, especially since switching to the three at the back, and I think what we've really see is Wenger's ability to sort of try and adapt a little bit more than we probably used to. I think he's seen that it can be beneficial, and so let's hope he continues that this year. Let's talk about somebody who I was a big fan of in preseason, and today he gets his first Arsenal goal. It's an equalizer against Chelsea at Wembley for a trophy, and a gentleman named Co Kolasinac. Him too. Let's talk about not just his goal, but just throughout preseason. The guy is he's a workhorse, whether he's at a wing back position or whether he's at that sort of that in the back three. He's a guy who loves to get stuck in. He's just an absolute beast of a human being. But today, I think when he came on for Mertesacker, I was a little worried because, the guy's coming in. It's his, real first game sort of in what I would consider a Premier League atmosphere. You're at Wembley. It's a big occasion. And the guy performed really well, and then he equalizes for us. Ellis, I'm going to come back to you on this. A lot of people knocked the club for getting him, for getting a guy, and he was on a free, so he must be garbage if his old club just let him walk. But he's coming in and proving a lot of people wrong here.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with them. I think they actually mentioned it on the BT Sport commentary about talking about transfers. Everyone's been talking about Lacazette coming in for 50 million, Morata coming in for 50 million. Obviously, the big one with Neymar and the other sort of big money additions to the Premier League, because everyone in the Premier League this season is spending quite a lot of money, bar sort of Tottenham. So had to get that one in there. But I think that they were saying they should really be lauded for finding these sort of players for so cheap. Like you think, well, the price we got Rob Holding. I know Jason's saying we shouldn't get too carried away for what we paid for Rob Holding. The potential he has is amazing. Just like I think he made the point, didn't he? I'm sorry he didn't cost 50 million like Stones did. But still a good defender. And the same goes for Kolasinac. He was in the German team of the year, wasn't he? And he was involved in a lot of goals last season. I haven't seen him before. I'd never heard of him, to be honest, until he signed. But from the little I have seen him in pre-season, he's looked really impressive. He's obviously got this really big physique. He's a tank, like we say, getting down that flank. He's quite good with the crosses and getting in there, and he doesn't really get knocked off the ball because of his size. So, yeah, I am really impressed with him. I thought he played really well, especially considering that he's came on today sort of as Pers got injured. He's came on and perhaps playing a slightly less role than he's used to, other than the wing back that he's normally played at, or left back. So, but I thought he played really well. Sometimes I got a bit worried because he did get quite far forward. There was that point where he just picked up the ball, didn't he, from defence, just kept going and going, and then eventually just laid off Oxlade-Chamberlain, who didn't put a good cross in the end. But no, I was really impressed with him, and obviously he took his goal well, and it was a great ball in by Xhaka as well. And I was impressed with Xhaka as well today. For me, Xhaka was man of the match. Like I said, I can't think of a ball that he placed wrong in the whole half. He's obviously got the assist for the goal. That hit that ripper, didn't he, that Courtois managed to save. But I would have probably jizzed my pants if that had gone in. It was such a good strike. But it's good to have someone like Xhaka who's willing to take those sort of shots from outside the box, because we've seen it seasons and seasons when there's not been people there that will have a pop, except from maybe sort of Alexis. He's quite good at it, or has been good at it since he's joined. But before that, there wasn't many people that would. And it's good to have someone like that. It's good to have someone who can get you off your feet with an incredible goal. So, yeah, I was really, really happy with some of the guys today. Like I said, Jack performed really well. And obviously, Kolasinac, who we talk about, however you say his name, played really well as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of him in the Premier League when it's like proper competitive, and see how he does.
No, absolutely. Jace, let's talk about that goal as well. It's Xhaka, somebody who we know has a sort of a decent foot on him to be able to spray the ball around. But how do you think he did today? Obviously, Sanchez, Ramsey, and Ozil typically have done a majority of our set piece taking, but he took, I think, every quarter today and on our set pieces. How do you think he did?
The couple went long. I thought he carried on where he left off last season. I thought he was very impressive, but that's the player we paid 35 million quid for. That's what I expect from him week in, week out, to be honest. He's very accomplished on the ball, beautiful range of passing, and he showed it today. But I just want to come back to Kolasinac for 1 second. As Ellis mentioned, Bundesliga team of the season last year. Anybody who thinks this guy is anything but a quality player is a fucking imbecile. This guy is a top quality player. Okay. He's not going to go into Wembley and be overawed. He's got caps for his country. He's played for Schalke, who are a big club. Regardless of their lack of trophies, etc., they're a big club. You go to the Ruhr Valley derby between Schalke and Dortmund, that's an atmosphere. This guy can play anywhere. Don't worry about him.
Yeah.
He did really, really well today. Let's not, underestimate him or overestimate him. He'll come in, he'll do a job. I'm more interested in where Arsene sees him playing. I'm not sure he sees him as the I may be wrong here. I'm just hypothesizing. I'm not sure he sees him as the Montreal replacement as a left back. If we do go to back four, I think you might see him as a centre half. I really do, or a centre back in the back three. I think where he came in today and did the job. But I don't know. I thought Xhaka, very solid today. I don't think he's spectacular. If that shot would have gone in, as Ellis said, it would have been. Oh my God, it was a screamer. But I'm expecting more and more from him. I really am. I just think you know, he's got a year under his belt now. He understands the Premier League.
Yeah.
He understands what he can and can't do. He is going to lose his shit on occasion, and fine, that'll happen. You know.
Yep.
It's nice to see us have a bit of bite with him and Kolasinac. I think physically we can take it to a few teams. You saw Courtois when Kolasinac scored. He took one look at him and didn't want to know. You know, he wasn't going to come for that ball. Nobody was going to come in at that point. It's going to be different in games to come as people get used to it. But you know, I think it's promising. I still think we need to add to the squad, but the core players we have, I'm happy with.
No, I 100% agree. It seems like we've been getting the right sort of players, and the credit to Wenger for this. We've been getting the right sort of players in the last couple of windows. So, got to give the man credit where it's due there. So, Xhaka gets the assist. Kolasinac gets his first goal for Arsenal, and what a freaking time to score your first goal for sort of the Reds here. It was just an absolute beautiful goal, and you could tell it just meant a lot to him. And that from that point on, we were really on the front foot, and Chelsea were clawing to get back in. Obviously, the masked failure of Pedro had gotten sent off. Let's not talk about that because, well, I mean, he changed one shitty mask for an even shittier mask. And what is the deal with Chelsea having to go with somebody masked on the field? Does Abramovich own stock in a mask company? And that way, there has to be one Chelsea player in a mask at all times on the field. I don't know. Anyway, but no, very, very good. We had some subs. Obviously, Theo comes on for Iwobi, who I think overall on the day had a really good day. Obviously, he's young. He's a young player. So he's going to, put a couple of passes wrong, maybe make a couple of wrong decisions. But I feel he had a really good day, especially in the first half. OG had come on for Lacazette. So really, really sort of a solid performance all around. Reece Nelson comes in a big situation as well. I thought he performed really, really well. But I think we did a really good job later in this game of sort of seeing this out. There was a sort of one trepidatious moment when I think they had earned a free kick, and the traitor whose last name starts with F put a ball in that had a header from Morata that was wide. But I think we did a decent job of closing the game out to send it to pins, and then obviously the new pins format. I want to get Jay. I obviously I haven't supported football for as long as either of you blokes have. I want to get your thoughts on the new what they're calling the ABBA, the ABBA sort of penalty format, and whether you guys think it's worth moving to or not. We'll start with you, Ellis.
Well, firstly, we're probably going to have so many of those shitty ABBA jokes all through the season now, aren't we? Which will be,
we are.
Which will be excruciating, but oh well, just to make do with
I got
that.
my one in for the season. I'm not going to go back to it. Don't worry.
Good. But yeah, it was very confusing. Obviously, it's new. It's a change. It's different, and not many people are going to like different stuff. I agreed with I think Frank Lampard said in the commentary that he didn't think it was really a problem anyway. It didn't really need fixing, and to be honest, it's never really crossed my mind that it was something that we might do in football. I think there's other more sort of pressing issues in football that should be changed rather than penalties, but I guess it's just a simple change. And as they said, apparently going first in the old format used to give you statistically a better advantage, but no, I thought it was quite good. It was very strange, sort of, obviously when they stepped up and took theirs, and then we had two Arsenal boys go. I was like, oh, that was weird when the second Arsenal man stepped up to take it. But I didn't think it really took anything away. It was still just as exciting as a normal penalty shootout, and it sort of, in the end, it looked quite good because we won 4-1 on penalties. But yeah, I don't know. It was all right. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. I didn't think it really made much of a difference, to be honest. I still enjoyed it.
Oh, you're so excited by it, aren't you?
I am. Buzzing, mate. Absolutely buzzing.
The one thing it does do, mind you, is you look at the pressure it applied on Chelsea. Courtois went up. He skied the shot. All of a sudden, the next penalty taker, if you don't hit this, you know, the other team comes in and you lose it before you get another chance to take another penalty. So,
would you rather go first in this new system, or would you rather go second?
I'd rather go second.
Yeah.
I'd rather get the 2 done. I got to be honest, 2 quick ones. You know, you can apply pressure, but to be honest, it's much of a fucking muchness, isn't it? The only thing I would say is the winner takes it all.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's a great Arbor joke. Come on.
I think you overshot your age there, Jace, with your audience here. No offense, pal. No offense, pal. You're young at heart, we know, but the ABBA references may be a little too aged for some of the folks in here. The quality folks will know what you're talking about. We'll try to get a Miley Cyrus reference in here, or a One Direction.
Anybody with an education will know what I'm on about.
I must be uneducated.
Can't turn off the chat box again.
No,
yes.
Just you two.
Well, let's dig into this. Let's talk. It legitimately, to me, seems like the most ill-founded decision, and most head-scratching decision to put Thibaut Courtois, your keeper, as your second penalty taker. The only other decision I have ever questioned as much as probably Arshavin coming on for Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain against Man United many years ago in a match. I don't quite get it. I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love it. But coming from a manager like Conte, who's supposed to be the tactical genius and supposed to just really know how to use his players the best, Ellis, how can you justify that? At what point can you justify it? Because it worked out brilliantly for us. I am not knocking it at all. It worked out brilliantly for us. But how can you justify that?
It is strange, and I think not just from the fact that the keeper stepped up, but I always think this. I don't like defenders go. I know Gary Cahill went, and obviously Monreal took one for us, and they both shot them really coolly.
You mean Gary Cunhill?
That's Gary Cahill. Sorry,
yeah.
But I always think why the forwards? Like if you were a forward, if I was a professional football player and I played up front, I'd be like, no defenders take it before me. I'm the striker. I've got the bottle to do this, and I'm taking it. So I did think sort of about why none of the Chelsea forwards say, no, fuck off, mate. You're a goalkeeper. I'm going first. You can have the 7th one if you really want. But yeah, it was strange, and very strange decision. But I suppose it is pre-season, but nonetheless, there is still silverware of some form.
I don't think it is a strange decision, to be honest, guys. I think you're overthinking this a bit too much. The bottom line is keepers take penalties in training all the time. You'll have seen him in training a lot of the time taking penalties. He knows he can score them. Unfortunately, he skies it on this occasion. You know, Morata goes up next and misses.
Yeah, but
at the end of the day,
you think
who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? Fuck them.
Who does? But during I know they take it in training, but if you think in an actual pressure match situation, the strikers normally take penalties throughout games throughout the season. So why take the chance and give it to a keeper? But like you said, who cares? Just they lost.
Couldn't give him monkeys. yeah. Fuck him.
Well, let's talk about again. Czech doing something people knock him for. He saves a penalty against a striker that honestly I think we were truly in for in Alvaro Morata. I think it sucks to see him go to a rival, but we got our man in Alexander, or at least the Pirates man, Chris Carpenter's man, Alexander Lacazette. I think he is going to have a great year. So Morata steps up, Czech saves. And you see two players.
Does he get finger to it? I don't think he does.
He does get a finger to it. I believe he does. Yeah. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. It looked like he did on our screen. I don't remember the replay really showing too much, but I'm going to say that he. Thank you. See, Norma Ott has it right. He at least he dived the right way. So everybody else can just shut the fuck up, and I'm going to say that he did it, and since I'm the host, he fucking touched it. All right, this is my show, and what I say goes. Anyway, whether he did, he dived. he dived the right way. He could have got a tip to it. I don't quite know, but correct, Daniel Cronin. It doesn't really matter because we won the fucking game. But then Ox and OG, who are two players who have been linked sort of with moves away from us. Obviously, OG is said he wants to stay and fight for his place. That's great. Ox, I think maybe up in the air if we get a good enough offer for him. I do think he'll be off. Unfortunately, I do want to see him stay though. But yeah, two players coming up, that have come under a lot of scrutiny in the past. But when it comes down to it, it's really been those two players have done a lot for the club, and I do feel like there's a little bit of undue animosity towards those players from a part of the fan base, Chris. But they came up big for us today, Chris. Jesus Christ, you're gonna be pissed at this, Jace, and it's good to see those two guys specifically step up for us in a big situation like this, and evidently, according to Jose Mourinho, you can count it as a treble if you win this trophy.
Well, look, it's one of those things. Okay, first of all, you call me Chris again, and I'm catching a flight. Shit. I don't know. I think Ox owes the club a bit more. I don't think he's delivered over his time at the club. I think last season he looked really good. On the wing back position, he did well when he came in the middle. He needs to get his mentality right and not let his head drop when he's having a bad game. I think with Ollie's improved year on year. I think season 4 last was he had that sort of 2 months dry spell that he was really poor then. But Ollie works hard for the team, to be fair to him. I don't mind giving him stick because he does have a touch of petulance about him now and again. Yeah. And he loses his head and doesn't contribute what he should do. But these guys, Theo as well, to be fair, Theo, this time last year I wanted Theo Walcott out of the club. I'm not sure what I wanted to do for the season. But he contributed 19 goals last season. Everybody, Monreal as well, they all took their penalties really well. They showed cool heads under pressure. And if they're going to stay, I just want them to do well. I don't care if it's Coughlin. I don't care if it's Theo. If they're going to stay at the club, I want them to do well and show what they can do and prove themselves. But, if they're not prepared to work hard enough or they're playing games to get a move, they can go fuck themselves. This is the bottom line. If they're representing us, great, good luck to them. I want them to do well, But, there are some players I rate there. There are some I don't rate and I'd like to see gone. But that's nothing, I have no influence over that, thankfully. But,
and I think it's you don't rate them, but if they perform, you're going to want them to stay.
Exactly.
Just like anybody else.
Just
perform to your ability.
Yeah, I give Francis Coughlin a whole load of stick because he's a bad footballer. Okay?
Yeah. He's not
He's a bad footballer. Don't try to justify anything. He's a bad footballer. Okay, you look at him when he's under pressure, he crumbles, right? He doesn't, last season when he's played up top or he's there to win the ball back, he only did it once against West Ham. His stats don't lie. Okay, he had one good game against Stoke when there was no pressure on him. But I want him to become bloody Pele. That's what I want him to be. But, I'd love him to prove me wrong and ram the words back to my throat. I'd love him to.
Yeah.
It's not about what I want for the Arsenal. It's about the team doing well. We all stand here on this platform and we give our thoughts, we give our opinions. But, the only thing that'll make us all happy is Arsenal winning the title this season. I think Wenger's past it, to be honest with you. But I'd love nothing more than him to win the title this season and, and prove me wrong. That's all I want. Nicky and Jim either behave. But carry on, back to you, boys. Sorry.
No, I definitely feel it's Ellis. I'm going to come to you a little bit. There were a lot of sort of notable, I think, exclusions on the team sheet. Chambers, Gibbs, just to name a couple who I think we probably thought could have been in this side, but maybe linked with the move away, maybe linked with the loan deal. I forgot exactly who it was that tweeted it. Somebody, it was a great tweet, but it was our squad versus Chelsea squad. And I think ours went about 15 players further than Chelsea's. Are these players that we just have to move on? How do you feel we should really handle some? I mean, there are players who I think we all understand are probably not good enough and not going to get in the team that we have. Players maybe like a Gabriel, maybe like a Gibbs, who we don't think are going to get in there. But what should we take less money for them just to move them on? What do you think that the mentality is right now to sort of get the quote unquote deadwood out or move them on?
I think it's difficult, really. Like there's some players like Jack Wilshere, for example, who I'd probably say we should move on, but at the moment there's not really any decent sized bids coming in for him, and I think someone like Jack can still sort of offer it if he's fit, which is a big if. But if he's fit, he's someone that can come into midfield and do a job, and it is the centre midfield is a sort of area of contention for me, where obviously we're looking at Siri hopefully, and he can come in, and I'd be less worried about it. But I think some of the guys, you do. It's because I think this transfer window is one of the maddest ones we've had. The amount of money that's being spent, or the Premier League spending a lot of money. There's 50 million Kyle Walker going for 50 million, for Christ's sake. Like, that's just ridiculous. And when someone comes in and they bid like 10 million for Chambers or whoever, and we'll reject that because we want a bit more for him, because you're just seeing how much other players are going for. But I did see, apparently, I don't know if it's true, it come up on my Twitter that we'd rejected a 10 million bid for Kieran Gibbs from West Brom, which I thought was madness. Fair enough, like a lot of people are going for a lot more, but just cut your losses and let him go. There are certain players like Kieran Gibbs, for example. He's got Nacho Monreal and now Koscielny, how do you say his name? Tank ahead of him. So you might as well just get rid of him. Why keep him around if you've got two left backs, left wing backs? They're going to keep him out of the team. Really, you might as well let someone a lot younger take that sort of third position and give him a chance if he can. But yeah, some of them we do need to cut losses. Some of them, like Chambers, I think could either bring us in a lot of money or we could use him. So it's either or. Like if we got a lot of money for him, I wouldn't be too fussed about selling him. But if we didn't get a decent sized bid, I'd like to keep him around, or maybe use him in like a bargaining tool to try and get another centre back in. But there are certain players, we all have them, who we don't like. Obviously, Jason doesn't like Coquelin. I'm not particularly keen on Gabriel. Everyone has their players in the squad that they'd like to see leave, but some of them you could probably make a good argument for staying, or you could probably make a just as good argument that they should go. So it's difficult. I think there is a lot of players in our squad, so we do need to get rid of some of them. And I think you'll probably start seeing them go towards the end of the transfer window, just because clubs can afford to leave it a bit later when they want a player like that. When they come to Arsenal, they look at us and they go, look, they've got 33 players. That player's not playing for them. We can probably lowball them or wait until the end of the transfer window when they're a bit more desperate to get rid of them, or we're a bit more desperate and we'll put a bit more in. So I think we will see sort of 5, 6, 7, 8 of the players on that list either go out on loan or be sold by the end of the window, especially when it gets towards the end when more moves keep happening. But we do need to get rid of some of them.
But the problem we got is it's all about the transfer, but it's all about a wages budget at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay? So we need to get big earners off the wages budget. The likes of Gibb, he's had enough time at the Arsenal, and he hasn't. He looked as if he was going to be the real deal. It hasn't come to fruition. You talk about Chambers, a young English centre half. He got in ahead of Holding at the end of 21s. He's come off a really good season at Borough, where he's performed well, even though the team haven't. Why would you want to sell him? Because in 3 seasons' time, that's 50 million quid you've got to spend to get that guy back in. I believe, the likes of Joel Campbell. I quite like Joel Campbell. I don't think he's ever going to be great for us, but it's time to get these fringe players out.
Yeah.
If you're going to persevere with somebody like Gabriel, who plays one good game in every 4, I don't understand it. I think, is he still injured? So it'll be tough to move him on. But it's about time, the club, we've got targets and we need to free up wage space for those targets. So 2 million quid is not going to be here or there for a player like Gibbs. Okay, the one concern. I feel like I was talking to Dom about this last night, and we both said virtually the same thing. Is Arsene doing things to be right, or is he doing things to strengthen the squad? Now, we obviously need a better quality central midfielder to come in. There seems to be too many players in our squad having an easy time of it, just taking the cash. Debussy, what the fuck is he still doing there? It's about time. Arsene Wenger has, is it 5 players and 1 year left in their contract. It's about time this club told a player, right, you're going to sit in the fucking stand all season, you cunt. You are not fucking ever taking the pictures again. I'm going to ruin your fucking career unless you go. Because we've been fucked about by too many players over the years. And it's about time the club got tough. You put them in the stand, you make them train with the under-12s, you do not fuck about with them. That'll move these players on. That will really ruffle some feathers. All the power at the moment is with agents and players. Take it away from them. Sit them in the fucking stand. Take a hiding on those wages, but you will gain down the line. We want players who want to turn up and play for the club, not just collect a check sitting on the subs bench or playing for the under-20s or whatever it is. No more fucking about from this club. We either show a bit of ambition going forward and lay the law down. If Sanchez is trying to engineer a move, fuck him. Sit him in the stand. His mind will change soon enough because he just wants to play. But you have to get tough. This situation at the moment where, Fifey said it on the podcast last season where Arsene's coming out with more and more ludicrous statements in the media, okay? And people say, oh, he's just playing the media. No, I'm sorry, he's in a corner, he's coming up with something stupid. Okay, you have to set your stall out, do with these players want to play for the club, let's actually take some action. Okay, to say it's good to have 6 players with 1 year left in their contract is at the bollocks, and no amount of playing the media justifies saying it. Okay, we need to sort this issue out. Who does he want to stay? And if you're going to keep, for argument's sake, Per Mertesacker with 1 year left in his contract and sell Chambers, I love Per Mertesacker. I love him to bits. But I think that's madness. You've got a player there you can develop into a first teamer. Mm. So stop fucking about. Give somebody an absolute fucking hiding. Put them in the stand. Make them train with the under-12s. And you watch people's attitudes change. And that's all I have to say on that.
You wanted Welsh justice, and you got Welsh justice. There you go, guys. You've set him off, and he's gone for it.
but am I right or am I wrong?
No, you're not right. You're speaking the truth. It's something that this club is pretty shocking at, really, the contract situation and the wages, because they've said it on many podcasts before. Why would, in any normal job, why would you take a pay cut to do more work? There's far too many people, like you say, who are more money than they should be, and we can't shift them. And there's also far too many people getting to the end of their contracts who we actually want, which then makes it difficult for us. I don't know what is the reason behind it, whether it is the fact of Arsene Wenger has too much say in those sorts of things, or if it's just a department in general that's just failing, that needs to sort of freshen up. But it is something that has to change. And everything you spoke was spot on completely. Like, I wouldn't disagree. I don't think there'd be anyone that disagree with you at all on it. It's an area that no one's really happy with. I don't think you wouldn't find an Arsenal fan that would say, yeah, we're really good at sorting out contracts and paying our players the right amount of money.
But you need to develop an environment where it's really competitive within the squad. And I think we're a bit too nice at the moment. And you have to start by saying, right, let's take one of the big players. He's going to cost us, whatever it is, £7 million a year in wages. Let's put him in the stand. Let's make him look like an absolute cunt. And then you'll see competition really start to come back. Then you'll see a bit more effort around the place, and people actually put the shirt on, because we are too much of a soft touch, and it's got to stop. And I get some of the players like Gibbs, he's grown up in the club and he wants to play for the club and he wants to win his shirt back, but there has to be a conversation, right? The time's done, mate. You go in. You know, there's been talk in pre-season of Elneny playing centre half. Fuck my life. You know. You know, what's this bollocks going? You know, why are people even tramping this bollocks out in the media? We have to become a serious outfit again.
It's strange because Wenger seems to have been quite ruthless with the whole Perez situation, taking his number away and said, look, you're going, like, we haven't got a place for you. But then you look at, like you said, you brought up Debuchy. It's a big bone of contention for me. Like, he sat there with the number 2 shirt, which really should go to our first choice right back. He's been loaned out because he didn't think he'd get enough game time at Arsenal. He wanted to try and get picked for the France nationals team. Surprise, that didn't work. Why is he still here? Just if he won't go, just pay his wage to go, mate, there's no need for you to be here.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, it's time to shit or get off the pan on a lot of players. You know, and there's players we want to develop and there's players we want to bring in. Free up the wage space, get them gone, get who we want in. Too much dithering. You know, Lamar's been close for what? 10 years? You know, stop fucking me about and go get the guy if you want him. If you don't want him, get whoever you need in. You know, it's, you know, all this thing of the TL Cox put in the window there, obviously Perez isn't Wenger's signing. There's so much talk about Wenger's a dictator or somebody's not his signing or this or that or whatever. All this nonsense has to stop, and Gazidis has to take a bit of leadership, you know, and come out and actually sort this out, right? And we have to be singing from the same hymn sheet. There's too much nonsense around the club where, you know, there's infighting or people want this power, people want that power. If you don't want Arsene Wenger involved in it, go to Stan Kroenke, influence him in some way. If you can't, fucking hell. Oh, yeah, Rudy, we do know how contracts work. We do. We understand it totally. We get more information than you about it, so we do understand it totally. It's just the way we work it, we're not effective at it. It doesn't happen at other clubs, does it? You know, this situation, does it happen at Chelsea? No. Well, aren't we the 5th or 6th biggest club in the world? Why is it happening to us? And you know, we need to put a stop to it. We need to put a stop to it soon.
And I'm going to piggyback off of that as well. I think one of my biggest concerns with Wenger is the fact that he's got this very sort of I think it's been described as a very socialist wage structure. I think that's one of the reasons why Gibbs hasn't gone. I don't think that's why even Christian Bielik hasn't gone on loan, is because they're being offered wages that are so far below what we're paying people. Because Wenger doesn't want the wage structure to be too far off from the highest earner to the lowest earner. And so you got a lot of players who aren't necessarily deserving of bigger contracts getting larger contracts here, because Wenger thinks that that's disruptive to the sort of dressing room harmony, when I feel like if it was that disruptive, why doesn't every other club have such a big fucking issue? And now I think we're running into the issue where we can't offload players because of this. And I think that's one of my, just to sort of piggyback off that, my 2 cents there. I'll throw that in there. Let's continue to move on. Let's go to some questions. I know that is going to be, I'm assuming Danny just let us know that this is going to be sort of the first ABW soapbox rant of the season, that you guys will be able to listen to exclusive rants on the YouTube page. So check that out. Jason Davis coming in clutch with a lot of freaking knowledge and passion, and rightly so on there though. So Jace, great sort of just breakdown of what's going on there. Let's talk. Let's go to my good friend Jimmy, or NN Gooner, to start off our questions here. Which would you rather see running at you? A pissed off grizzly bear, or B, a rather docile, sad Kolosinac? Ellis, who would you rather have? Kolositank or a pissed off grizzly bear running full bore right at you? A docile Kolositank, by the way. You're muted, pal.
Sorry. So I definitely wouldn't want Jason coming at me with a contract. But out of the options that Jimmy gave, definitely not the tank. I would rather take my chances with the other option.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Let's a couple of people had some other contracts. While you're on your soapbox here, Mr. Davis, Norma Ott and Nikki Wilson both sort of have similar contract questions. Sort of it's Norma asked, beyond Sanchez and Messett, we have an unbelievable number of players with 1 or 2 year contracts left. Why does the club let this happen? And Nikki Wilson says, why has nobody signed a contract extension? Even Ramsey and Welbeck have only 2 years left.
I think, I'm not sure if Ramsey signed anyone, is he? I'm not sure if Ramsey has signed anyone.
I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything that does. I'm the most out of the know person you could ever want, because I fucking can't stand Twitter anymore. But what do you feel the reason? I think we all know why Wenger says, like, you're supposed to honor the contract, so why should I give them a contract extension before they run out of the contract? I do not understand this. I do this. Why does nobody else do this? But why can't we seem to get this? Not just contracts for players leaving, but contracts for players who we have under contract. Why do we hold on to them for so long before starting to negotiate?
I don't know. It's something we've always done. Arsene's got a very egalitarian kind of thought process on contracts. There was the time 10 years ago, whatever, where all the youngsters were put on high wages to keep them, and none of them really came through properly. 2 years before, you start renegotiating, and you should get it done quickly. Yes, you've got to. You want to keep your star players, and you want to tie them down to long-term contracts. There are the Premier League wages rules, etc., where you can only raise your wages by 5% every year. I think we're paying a bit of the price for the Czech transfer window, where we didn't bring enough players in, so therefore we haven't extended our wage bill enough. But the truth of the matter is, I don't think anybody knows. I mean, to have the Jack Wilshere situation, okay, they went to league and go to Bournemouth. I can kind of understand. Ox, maybe he wasn't sure on him. I can kind of understand. Ozil and Sanchez, I think they've been playing games with us all last season. We either pay them the money they want or let's sell them. I know a lot of people say, oh, it's terrible for a club to sell their best 2 players. But if that gives us the money to go out and get younger players who are going to deliver something different, then fair enough. I don't want to see them go, but I'm not Sanchez's biggest fan. He's a wonderful player. I think Ozil should do more as well at times. But where are you? How are you going to improve the team by having these guys pulling out dicks all the time? You can't have it. We have to set a precedent somewhere. How you do that, I don't know. But I don't know the thought process behind having, because we had Wodge with a year left of his contract. That's why we've had peanuts for him from Juventus. You've had Jack, Ox, Walcott, not Walcott, Sanchez and Ozil. I can't remember the other one. Contracts are difficult. We know that. Worldwide network of scouts. We're the 5th or 6th biggest club in the world. Why haven't we got a world-class people in charge of negotiating these contracts and a forward plan going forward?
Yeah.
It's really, really not acceptable for a club of our stature to be in this situation. And I don't understand it, to be honest with you.
Gotcha. Let's talk. I think it was who was it? Toll. I keep passing it in the freaking chat box. Forgive us. It's still preseason for us, guys, so forgive us as well. It was Tail Cock asks, why do we keep prioritizing a sort of a left-sided winger or Lamar over a center mid? Ellis, I'm going to bring this to you. Do you think that if we do bring Lamar, now we're not going to get too far into who we're going to fucking bring in the next few weeks, because nobody knows what fucking Wenger has up his long sleeves. But we have been heavily linked with Lamar. Ellis, do you think that Lamar is somebody who could maybe fit into a a center mid role in the future? He's still a very young player, or do you see him just as sort of that left-sided sort of winger that he plays now at Monaco?
I'm probably the wrong person to come to for this question because I don't.
No,
really
you're 100% right because you don't
Lamar.
watch French football. You have no ideas, but you do play FIFA. So you're the perfect person to come to in this
Exactly,
situation.
that's completely realistic.
Yeah.
Well, people who are more knowledgeable than me have told me that Lamar can possibly play in that sort of centre midfield role, but we have been linked with Siri or whatever his name is, not the phone, the actual geezer who plays for Nice. So
hey Siri, complete a pass. And my phone just.
Oh, you two are like Morecambe and Wise, aren't you? For fuck's sakes.
But yeah, I don't know. Can he play there? We'll have to wait and see if we sign him. It seems to be going on for a long while. We seem to have been on the cusp of trying to sign him for the last. What's the answer? Just say no, you can't. But yeah, I don't know. I couldn't say really. It's something that we would have to try. If the player comes to Arsenal, or like I said, if we sign someone else for that centre mid position, then will he need to go there? Like, who knows? It is, like I said it earlier, I mentioned it, that it's an area that I think we do need to be reinforced, because you've got Jack and Ramsey last season, they played quite well, but you know what Ramsey's like, he could be out for a while with an injury, Xhaka could well be suspended, and then you're sort of left with a midfield of Koch and Elneny, and I don't think anyone really rates that too much, to be honest. There isn't enough sort of talent in that sort of position with those two. So I do think there is someone that is a position, someone we need to get in for that position. And if we don't. If we get Lamar and we try him as a centre mid, then fair enough. We'll just have to wait and see what happens, really.
It's difficult, isn't it? You know, you look at the midfield at the moment. Jack didn't light up anything at Bournemouth last season, was tidy. Will he do better now midfield? Santi's gone. You know, if he comes back from that injury and gives us 10 games, I'll be amazed. Coughlin and Elneny was neat and tidy today. Coughlin will do a job in certain areas. You know, if he's sitting deep any further up the pitch, he's next to useless. And then you're relying on flogging Xhaka and Ramsey into the ground. Well, if you're going to flog Ramsey into the ground, he's going to get injured. Yeah, and you've got Europa League campaign to think about as well. So surely we have to be in for a central midfielder, because if we're not, I'm sorry, you know, people may think I'm mourning, but it's just that they're fucking incompetence. You know, you can't rely on ifs and buts. We have to bring people in of certain quality. You know, let alone the Europa League campaign. We have to challenge for the title. We have to. 10 years. And it's about time we put together a proper challenge. And please don't mention finishing second to Leicester, because we didn't fucking challenge. So, you know, what are our plans? I don't know. Yeah, there's lots of rumours flying around, but you know, if Lamar's an attacking player, you put him in an attacking position. If you want a central midfielder, buy your fucking central midfielder.
Can someone ask a question that will give us a positive answer, please?
I'm gonna hopefully this will be positive, because I think this will be the last question. It's gonna come from this guy named @Colonial_Cannon. Guy's a real fucking wank hammer though.
What a cunt.
It's gonna be to Jason Davis. Friday we start the Premier League campaign against Leicester, or as we say in America, Leicester. Because we're cunts. Anyway, how do you see us getting on there on Friday?
Look, we've got to get at the blocks quickly. I think you know, we're going to play a strong team. I think, you know, the players rested today for a reason. I'm hoping, and I can see us, you know, really going for them first game of the season. I'm expecting nothing less than 3 points. 2-0, 3-1, something around that mark, and let's kick the season off properly. I'm really excited about this season. I'm not happy with certain areas of what's happening, but isn't it just fantastic to watch a team playing again? You know, isn't it just great to watch us, you know, win a little trophy today? This is what football's all about. This is why there's still 154 people watching this nonsense. Okay, we all, Rudy's poking me earlier on. Well, yeah, I'm mourning, but guess what? I got something to mourn about. But isn't it fantastic that the Arsenal are back? So let's fucking go out there. Let's fucking set our stall out. 3 points, first game of the season, and let's fucking have a go at a title. That's all we want. And K-Man, you are bang on. We are 3 twats.
Well, all guns.
What's Ellis? Ellis, your thoughts on Friday evening here against the champions from a year ago?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm just like Jay said, it's just good to have football back. Like, I hate sort of when there's no international football on over the summer. It can be a bit boring, and you have to get into do other stuff with your time. When I'm just
but there was CONCACAF Gold Cup.
Oh yeah, woo! But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing Lacazette. Like, it's probably a shame that Chris isn't here because he hasn't had enough time to sort of wax lyrical about him and get a bit wet.
He's in front of a computer somewhere.
But yeah, I'm really looking forward. Like, I thought Lacazette, I haven't seen too much of the pre-season. I've seen a couple of games and obviously saw the day's game as well, and I thought he looked quite good. And that sort of shot that he hit the post with that little finesse, I love that sort of shot. Like, it just reminded me of Thierry Henry coming out, peeling out to the left and cutting in on his right foot and then curling one in. That's just such a nice feeling to watch someone shoot like that. To have a striker who you feel can sort of put those sort of shots away. Like, obviously he didn't today, but he done well, and I'd like to see him sort of hit a bit of form and banging some goals and just have, like, that's the striker we've been crying out for ages. Like, I know a lot of people probably didn't know much about him or think they do know a lot about him or do know a lot about him like Chris does, but he is a striker who he's got pace, he's got that sort of finishing ability. It's something that we've lacked for many seasons, and the seasons transfer windows gone by, we haven't necessarily got the players in we want. But I think it was obviously we were linked with Kylian Mbappe and looked likely we weren't going to get him, so we've gone in and sorted out Lacazette pretty sharpish, and he came on the tour, and he's going to take a little while to adjust because obviously playing in Liga is different to playing in the Premier League, and he's got new teammates to play with. But I think once he hits the ground running, we'll see a lot of goals come from him, and I'm really excited about it. And I'm hoping he can sort of open his account against Leicester on Friday. And I'm sort of liking the idea of Friday night football. At first, I sort of didn't like it, but it's sort of nice it's another day where you can watch football. Surely that can't be a bad thing.
What a sellout. Unbelievable. What a sellout.
I like Friday night football. It's nice to come after work, a few beers.
Exactly. Start the weekend off right.
Can I just say one thing, guys? It's fantastic to see all the faces in the chat box. Brilliant to have you back. The guys put a lot of effort in the Rangers show. If you could give us a thumbs up. Chris loves a thumb up the bum, as we all know. So if you could do that, that'd be fantastic. And it's just nice to do this again, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's just really nice to do this again.
Too right, spot on.
It's better than Ellis's drunk FaceTimes at 10 p.m.
Jason, people aren't meant to know about that. It's a little secret.
Damn it. No, I'm gonna leave us tonight. I do want to say thank you, Ellis. Thank you, Jace.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much for having us.
And I'm gonna leave us on a note from our good friend who is in every single ABW show that I see in the chat box. Our good friend Daniel Cronin says, Arsenal is back. We beat Chelsea. We won a trophy. What is there to be upset about? You guys have a great weekend. Check out the podcast that we'll now start recording on Monday nights. So check for that Monday night, Tuesday morning, wherever you at. There will be one coming out this Monday night, Tuesday morning. So y'all check that out. And again, we just lifted a trophy today, guys. Put a fucking smile on your face. Y'all have a good one.